Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Mike. If you're brand new here, if you're returning, thank you for coming back once again. As I record this video, it is currently January 16th of 2025. I'll tell you why I'm telling you that in just a moment, but this is a start of a brand new series here on the channel. It's a video I've wanted to make for some time, but I've wondered to myself, how do I make this kind of video? Do I do a simple movie review? Do I do a spoiler thoughts on it? How do I approach this? And this is where I thought, well, actually, let me make a video essay / discussion sort of video where I'm just going to talk openly about the 2016 movie Your Name. And in doing so, if I am going to give any spoilers, I'll put a spoiler warning up on the screen just to say that's going to be the case, because you may come across this video and find, well, actually, why does this person, who maybe I don't know, love Your Name so much, and why should I actually give this a chance and watch it maybe for the first time ever? Or if you've seen it once before, well, actually, why should I maybe go back and rewatch this movie? So that's what I'm here to talk about today, and my overall love for it and why it just connects with me so much. So, okay, let's get some kind of facts out the way first, the director, the plot, and then we'll go into all of that. So, this released in 2016 in Japan. It was directed and written by Makoto Shinkai, produced by Co-Mix Wave Films, and distributed by Toho. And this focuses on two characters, who is Taki Tachibana, and you got Mitsuha Miyamoto, if I've got that right. And these two start to swap bodies. Don't know who the other person is, but one day it all starts, and in doing so and swapping bodies, they start to cause chaos and really big changes in each other's respective lives. Now, there's far more to the story than what I've just explained, but for the spoiler-free portion, that's what I'm going to give you. Now, okay, so in terms of who these two characters are voiced by, so Taki is voiced by Ryunosuke Kamiki, and Mitsuha is voiced by Mon Kamushi Rishi, if I've got that correctly. And the first time I saw this movie, I actually can't remember, maybe 2018, 2019, but that's kind of like a rough ballpark figure there with roughly when I first saw this. But I do have to give a shout out to my nephew James, who actually put me on to this movie, because he saw it and he's like, Mike, I love this movie, you've got to check it out. So I sat down and watched it, and being a fan of anime, I was intrigued, but at that point I didn't watch too many anime movies. But nowadays I've got a Crunchyroll subscription. I'm always watching a brand new series, or I'll watch an unknown movie. I'm very open to anime, and I'll always go support it whenever it's in cinema. So when I watched this movie, I cried. I ended up crying. I ended up really loving this so much that I actually fell in love with the movie. Now, Your Name is normally a yearly watch for me, and I'm going to explain that as we go along. So once I saw Your Name for the first time ever, I knew I had to own this on physical media. I knew I had to watch this again, and it instantly became my favorite anime movie of all time. From that point, Radwimps, the band who do the soundtrack for this movie, which we will talk about, they became my favorite band. I'm still yet to see them live, but I know when I do, that will definitely be one bucket list dream come true. And it's very fitting I'm wearing a Japan shirt for this review, because this is a Japanese produced movie, and at the time it was the second highest grossing Japanese film ever. It has been knocked off at that title of the Demon Slayer Mugen Train, but that took many years before that knocked it off the title of that, and that is just very impressive for a movie that did roughly have a 7.5 million budget, which American dollars, of course, 7.5 million, and it made around 405.3 million. So an absolutely sensational return. Okay, so why do I love this movie so much? So I currently only have two editions of it, which is the collector's edition and the Blu-ray Steelbook. Now, the reason for that is over here in the UK, you can get a standard Blu-ray, you can get a DVD, and that's primarily the only releases that we got. There is some nicer editions released in Japan. The two characters we focus on, Taki and Mitsuha. So, firstly, both characters are so likable. They're really rootable. You're interested in their journey. You're interested in this body swapping premise, which I will admit, for the first kind of 15-20 minutes, you might be a little bit confused as to how that's happening, why is it happening, and ultimately, what is the big picture of that said event. And that's definitely the first time as I felt watching it. Now that I've seen it, of course, I know where it's going. But that first moment, I can imagine with maybe someone who's brand new to this anime might be thinking, well, actually, what direction is this heading in? Like, I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit lost right now. It's not really explaining anything. But as you go along, it, of course, does start to explain this. And this movie, for me, is what I would call a cinema masterpiece. Now, the reason why, and the big overarching theme of Your Name, besides being inspired by natural disasters in Japan, the big theme really is love. Letting yourself be open to whatever possibilities can come your way. Now, I think that itself is a very important message. It's a very impactful one. And it's also a very relatable one, because in our lives, at some point, we will probably have fallen in love, maybe currently in love. However you feel, maybe at the time of watching this video, of course, I don't know. But a little bit about myself and why I connect with this is, of course, in my life, I have been in love, and I currently am with my partner, Emma. And having that feeling and emotion, especially when I first checked this out, which actually I don't think I was with my partner, Emma, at the time. I was single, but I have felt that emotion in the past, and this just kind of hit home with that emotion, because I think love itself is one of the best feelings a human emotion can ever feel, especially if it's for another human or if it is for an animal. I just think that is so conveyed to the point where it's excellently done. And something unique, something profound, and just something completely different compared to the standard story you might get of a typical rom-com, just to give an example. Where this movie with the body swapping, these two characters don't realise, despite maybe the chaos that they're causing with one another, they're actually trying to help one another's different lives. So, for example, Mitsuha does help Taki to try get an attention of a girl that he likes at his job, who is kind of dubbed as like this hot girl. All the guys fancy her, who is a really nice person, and he wants to get to know her, but he's shy. He's kind of very conserved, and he's very reserved, I should say. And he's having these emotions where he can't convey exactly how to help her. But because Mitsuha helps him to kind of get in touch a little bit with his feminine side, ultimately that helps him to land a date with this girl. With that overarching theme, it's only helped and conveyed by the soundtrack that we have from Radwimps. Just to give an example, they have a song called Dream Lantern, which is 2 minutes and 11 seconds in length, and that opens up the movie. And immediately, this song gives you a warmth, it gives you a real desire, it gives you a bit of oomph. Like, this song helps to get the movie going, and it's just really beautiful, musically produced by Radwimps, and that alone helps to set the tone. But as the movie starts to play on, as we get introduced to the friends of Mitsuha and Taki, and ultimately the plot starts to develop a little bit more to the point of when we get to know our characters, we already like them, or they're already rootable. There's not a bad character in here whatsoever. They're all cleverly written and really well written. The movie hits you with a huge plot twist, and I did not see the plot twist coming at all, and I was just like, oh wow, like thinking of it now, it really just kind of leaves me speechless and kind of takes my breath away for like a quick second. And having that feeling and knowing what is coming and what changes and this whole plot twist really changed the dynamic of Your Name, because throughout, these two characters that are swapping bodies are starting to really kind of like one another, although they've never met one another. And I also think that's really important because I can't comment for, you guys, but back in the day, and I'm talking about like MSN Messenger, and yeah, guys, I am that old. But even like, say, MySpace, for example, or text messages, I would be talking to a girl when I was single and starting to get to know them through an MSN or through a text message before eventually maybe meeting up, or maybe had already met them and started to kind of develop that friendship into something maybe a little bit more. And during those moments, it came really apparent and clear to me that I was starting to fall for that said person I was talking to. I was waiting for their message every day, and that would put a smile on my face. That would put me in a good mood. That could also sometimes, frustrate me or annoy me or stress me out compared to, whatever the conversation dictated at that current time. But having a partner and having someone that you love, which is, as I mentioned, the overarching theme of this movie, is severely precious. And it's an emotion where, like, my current partner, for me, my relationship, I have, kind of experienced the easiest relationship I've ever had in my life in terms of having a partner. And that's what it should be. It should be easy. It should be kind of stress-free. It should be manageable. You should be able to talk to one another. And of course, just key communication. And that's what Taki and Mitsuha have. They have this communication through their phones, which of course they don't know one another. And when they're switching these bodies, like, they've never met each other before. And that is extremely important for us as a human. It's great to be vulnerable. It's great to let that more, say, feminine side in of you, and being open to that, being open to change, and being open to someone who may come along and make you a better person. Your Name, throughout, with the musical numbers, as we mentioned, like Dream Lantern, or you've got Zen Zen Zen, which is probably their biggest number, but that is just like so upbeat, it's uplifting, it gets you in the mood, and it also gets one where the characters, when they start to change, they start having this music playing, and it just really helps to propel them in their respective journeys. But then the movie also ends on a beautiful number called Sparkle, which is around 8 minutes 55 seconds, if I've got that right, which is just has you all in the feels. This movie warms me. This movie gives me chills. It gives me the biggest smile on my face. I remember after I watched this, my nephew James was telling me the Koto Shinkai, at the end he wrote an ending to the point where at that point I was already crying, but if they had ended it right there, I heard that maybe in early test screenings, it really upset and angered some fans because of how it ends. So he wrote a different ending, and by the time it finished, I still remember having the biggest chills I've ever felt, having just goosebumps. I sat there, I sobbed, I cried, and I was just so overjoyed to have just experienced a wonder that I then fell in love with, and that is the 2016 movie Your Name. This is absolutely breathtaking. The animation is some of the best animation you're ever going to see in a picture, and it's a one where I just could talk about this movie all day, about all the separate characters, everything. But to keep this just a little bit more shorter and brief, that is for me what Your Name is. And it's a movie I would absolutely love and commend people to check out, whether it's a first time or whether it's on a rewatch, because this is a one that changed my life forever. But have you seen Your Name? Are you going to watch it? Well, hey, let me know down below in the comment section so we're going to continue the discussion down there. I would also like to give a big thank you to all my awesome Patrons you see on screen right now. They help to support the channel. If you'd like to join Patreon yourself and get access to videos like this, which is up early before it hits YouTube, well, click that link down below in the description box and join today from only £2 per month. Now, in the meantime, I do have a few suggested videos you can see over here. They will be the Why I Love series, but if they're not right now, you might be able to see some anime reviews. Well, click those, have a bit of a deep dive. Till next time, I see you guys. I'll be seeing you later.